Breaking, Vladimir Putin has just issued a direct warning to strike the United Kingdom, and this time it's no longer a bluff. 72 hours ago, classified NATO intelligence leaked online, revealing that Britain had secretly supported Ukrainian drone missions not from Poland or Romania, but from a covert military base hidden in the North Sea, a site the world was never supposed to know existed. Moscow discovered it, and Putin's response was instant and merciless. Russian state TV aired footage of British radar grids marked with red digital crosshairs, complete with coordinates and target data. The message couldn't have been clearer. We know exactly where you are and we can reach you. Within hours, a Russian nuclear submarine was detected off Scotland's coast for the first time since the Cold War. Fighter jets scrambled, naval units moved into position, and what began as quiet tension turned into open panic. This was no longer an exercise. Inside Downing Street, Prime Minister Keir Starmer was rushed into emergency sessions with the nation's top military and intelligence officials. Witnesses described him as pale and hollow-eyed, struggling to keep composure. Britain's security level jumped to severe. Cyber systems were being tested in real time. From energy grids to water networks and communication lines, Russia wasn't just threatening. It was actively probing Britain's breaking point. Behind closed doors, one haunting phrase echoed again and again: Article 5 may not save us this time. For 75 years, Article 5, NATO's cornerstone promise, meant that an attack on one is an attack on all. But this time, that shield was cracking. Across the Atlantic, the fracture became visible. The world's strongest alliance, NATO, was breaking apart on live television. American Senator J.D. Vance, a rising conservative voice and critic of European wars, appeared on national news and delivered a statement that sent shockwaves through every Western capital. Britain is playing empire against someone who doesn't bluff. NATO's unity was suddenly in question. Instead of defending the UK, Vance publicly blamed it. Within hours, the alliance began to splinter. France urged restraint. Germany froze joint arms shipments pending review. Italy went silent. And from Washington, Britain's closest and oldest ally, came a statement so vague it sounded like a farewell. We are evaluating all strategic options. Translation: you're on your own. For the first time in living memory, Britain stood alone against a nuclear power. Then came the revelation that changed everything. Late at night, a NATO whistleblower in Brussels leaked encrypted documents to an independent journalist. The files were incomplete, but devastating. They exposed a secret operation codenamed Smokefall. It revealed that Britain had been intentionally used as bait. NATO command already knew that tensions with Moscow were near a breaking point. They expected Russia to retaliate to any provocation. So they crafted a plan. Let Britain take the lead in covert operations, draw Russia's focus westward, and use that distraction to reposition NATO forces in Eastern Europe. Britain was the decoy, and Starmer had no idea. A phrase buried in one of the meeting transcripts went viral: sacrifice the pawn to win the board. Overnight, the entire story flipped. Britain was no longer seen as the aggressor. It was the victim of its own alliance. Protests broke out across London. Within hours, tens of thousands filled Parliament Square, waving Union Jacks and chanting, "No more wars, bring Britain home." Riot police formed walls as flares lit up the sky. On GB News, Nigel Farage erupted live on air, accusing Starmer of gambling British lives for NATO's failed strategy. Even his own Labour colleagues began to turn on him. Angela Rayner, once fiercely loyal, issued a statement that many called the start of rebellion. The British people deserve full honesty. Inside Westminster, panic turned to chaos. Some ministers demanded talks with Moscow, others wanted defiance. Starmer sat silent, trapped by the fallout. Then Buckingham Palace intervened. King Charles summoned the Prime Minister for a private audience. No aides, no cameras, no record. Only two men face to face under the weight of history. Sources later described the King's tone as calm yet unyielding. He asked one question: at what point does leadership become recklessness? Starmer had no answer. When he left the palace, cameras captured him pale and defeated. The image spread worldwide. A man who knew it was over. Hours later, a second leak emerged. Even more explosive satellite data traced the original NATO leak back to Brussels, but routed through encrypted British servers. Someone inside NATO had intentionally leaked Operation Smokefall to Moscow intelligence agencies, spent the night tracing fingerprints. One name surfaced, Lord Havsham, a former UK defence advisor turned consultant, linked to both Russian and American contacts. The betrayal, it seemed, came not from abroad, but from London itself. By dawn, the walls had closed in. Ministers urged Starmer to resign. Protesters filled the streets. Phones at number 10 went silent. At 7 a.m, Starmer stepped outside and delivered his final words. His voice cracked but steady. I have served this country with all integrity, but grave mistakes were made. The British people deserve a new path forward. He took a breath. Tonight I will tender my resignation to His Majesty the King. Silence then. Chaos. Reporters shouting, flashes everywhere. Hours later, Buckingham Palace confirmed his resignation. That night, King Charles addressed the nation. Standing before the Union flag, his voice steady but firm, he said, "Democracy is not tested by victory. It is tested by truth. We do not bend to fear. We do not trade honour for convenience. We stand as one." His words reignited something in millions. Pride, grief, unity. Yet one question still haunted every nation watching. If the betrayal came from within NATO, who truly controls the West now? For decades, NATO has been the cornerstone of peace. But now, that cornerstone is crumbling. Divisions deepen. Trust fades. The world is shifting in ways few could imagine. Is NATO collapsing on or evolving into something darker? Was Britain sacrificed for strategy or sold out for power? Whatever the answer, one thing is undeniable. History is unfolding before our eyes. The next few months may reshape global alliances, military power, and even the meaning of peace itself.